Lands on the bank of the canal and hears a guide say,
I see a group of manatees just at the entrance. They come here when the temperatures in the Gulf falls below 68 degrees.
She shades her eyes with one hand and points with the other.
Here's one,
A girl says. She stands with her mother and brother on a sidewalk behind a fence that surrounds the manatee viewing area.
Look at his snout. It's ugly.
A boy kicks at the ground with one foot. Their mother says,
You're seeing it through the water, so it looks strange, like when you see your friend underwater in a swimming pool.
Is it looking for something to eat?
the girl asks. The guide says,
Manatees aren't fish, so they have to surface to breathe. They need air to live, just like we do.
What do they eat?
the girl asks.
They eat seagrasses and other plants that grow in the water. That's why they're called sea cows.
The guide says.
It won't try to eat that bird over there?
The boy points to Nick. His mother laughs.
Don't be silly. You've never seen a cow try to eat a bird.
I'd like to, though.
The boy kicks the fence and it rattles. Nick flies away. In 1995, some citizens wanted to preserve natural areas in Lee County. They asked the government to help, and in 1996, voters agreed to pay more taxes to buy wild lands. In 2008, the 2020 program had bought 97 parcels, nearly 21,000 acres, including Orange River Preserve and the Caloosahatchee Creeks Preserve, which protect part of the watersheds of Daughtry's Creek, Cone Branch, Chapel Branch, Bayshore Creek, Popash Creek, Stroud Creek, and Palm Creek. Similar land acquisition programs exist in Charlotte, Polk, and Sarasota counties. Today we're at the Caloosahatchee Creeks Preserve, maintained by the Lee County Parks and Recreation Department. This land was purchased through the 2020 program. On Interstate 75, cars and trucks roar across the bridges. On the river's north shore, the interstate cuts through the Caloosahatchee Creeks Preserve. The mangrove islands nearby form the Caloosahatchee National Wildlife Refuge. Nick stands in the water near the mangroves. A lizard runs along a branch. A breeze rustles the cabbage palms and sea grapes that grow at the island's center. Two white egrets and a great blue heron hunt for fish. In the water, 3 pelicans have eaten and are resting. The breeze blows again. Nick watches a mangrove leaf fall. Beneath it, he sees many leaves sunk in the water. They are caught in the prop roots of the mangrove. As the water moves, they are ground into smaller and smaller pieces. Animals too small to see live on and eat these bits. Tiny shrimp and baby fish feed on them. A styrofoam cup bobs between the roots. A bead of styrofoam breaks free. It mixes with the leaf bits. If something eats the bead, it could get sick. A fiddler crab runs across the sand. Nick stabs for it, but misses. He stalks across the sand. His footprints join those of crabs, ibis, and gulls. Hi, I'm Carol Mahler, author of Adventures in the Charlotte Harbor Watershed. Today I'm in the television studios of the School District of Lee County, and with me today is Melissa Nell Kane.
Hey, Carol, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, thanks for being here.
Well, thank you for having me. So today, I'm going to tell you all about mangroves. So how many of you have ever seen a mangrove? Okay, excellent. Some of you guys have. For those of you that don't know what a mangrove is, it is a type of tree. Mangroves are trees that can live near salt water. They protect our coasts by keeping sand from washing away and by breaking the force of storm waves caused by storms. Mangroves also make new land by trapping the sand and leaves brought in by the tide. Mangrove seeds sprout before they even drop from the trees, so they can float along to another shore where they'll grow. Mangrove roots offer hiding places for young fish and shellfish, and the branches are home for all sorts of different birds. A rookery is where many of the birds build their nests in one single mangrove tree.
Thanks for reading that, Melissa. Now, I've heard that mangroves can grow in fresh water. Is that true?
It is true, but like a lot of things, they have places where they'd rather grow. And there's so many different types of plants that can grow in fresh water that sometimes the mangroves kind of get sort of pushed out to the side. But if you look behind me at that picture, you can see some baby red mangroves popping up right there, and that's in a saltwater area. And you can see there's hardly any other plants in there. So really, with the saltwater, they're one of the few plants that can grow there.
Now, I heard you say that mangroves are a tree. They don't look like trees.
It's true. They kind of look kind of strange, especially the red mangroves, which can have prop roots hanging down from the branches. Who ever heard of a tree with, roots coming down from the branch? But they're trees, and they're one of the most important trees that we have along our coast because they really do help sort of provide almost a wall of protection from things like storm surge.
Thanks for talking with me today. I've really enjoyed it.
Oh, no problem, Carol. Thank you guys for having me.
For free classroom materials, please visit our website at www.chnep.org.
Railroad bridges called trestles cross the water between small islands. At sunset, Nick flies over. His shadow slides along the tracks like a train. Boats usually travel in the middle of the river where the water is deepest. The track that crosses the channel is raised like a drawbridge so boats can pass under. Nick lands on the top and looks at the houses and docks built on the shores. He flies to the south shore and lands near the Russell Park boat launch. A driveway of gravel slopes into the river. The grass on either side of the driveway is blocked off with "No parking" signs. Nick stands very still when he sees a frog hopping across the grass. Across the street are many historic homes. In front of one, a woman and a girl walk out and down the front porch steps. They hold hands as they walk to the street and stop. The woman points at Nick.
See the bird?
What kind is it, Mommy?
The girl asks. The frog hops closer to Nick and eats a mosquito.
Some kind of heron, I think. Look at its long legs.
The woman says. The girl rubs her leg.
Bugs are biting me, but I can't see them.
They are tiny flies called no-see-ums.
The woman slaps her arm.
The mosquitoes are biting too. Let's go back in.
Will the bird go home?
The girl asks.
I think it's a kind of night heron, like an owl. It hunts at night.
As they walk away, the girl waves her hand.
Bye-bye, birdie.
The frog leaps very close to Nick, and he grabs it in his bill. I'm Carol Mahler, author of Adventures in the Charlotte Harbor Watershed. Today, I'm at the television studios of the School District of Lee County, and with me today is Rick Tully.
Hi, I'm Rick Tully, and I'm with the Environmental Education Program of the School District of Lee County. And today I'd like to read one of the contributions of Desiree Companion. She wrote, Flooding by Desiree Companion, Sarasota County Surface Water Planning and Regulatory. Flooding is a part of the Earth's natural hydrologic cycle. Floodplains are low-lying areas near coastlines, rivers, and streams that temporarily store excess surface water caused by storm surge or intense rainfalls. Many people want to live by water, and their homes and businesses have filled these once natural storage systems. Flooding only becomes a problem when met with human habitation.
Rick, tell me a little bit about flooding. I mean, is it unusual?
Flooding in South Florida is a natural part of our yearly cycle. During the summer, we have intense rainfalls, and much of our land surface area is flooded. It's a very natural part of our ecosystem. All of our plants and animals and the systems that they live in have evolved with flooding as a natural part of their annual cycle. Some of our areas stay wet virtually all the time. Other areas are dry virtually all the time. And in between those two extremes, we have every combination you can imagine. Many of our areas need to be flooded about half the year, and some more than that, some less than that. So flooding is a very normal, natural part of South Florida.
Well, now, sometimes flooding inconveniences people.
Oh, that's very true. People have moved in, and we live in these areas. We don't like to be standing in water all the time. We don't like our feet wet, and so we have engineered many parts of our county to dry out so that we can have our roads and our houses and sidewalks and to live a more human kind of life on dry land.
Great. Thanks. Thanks for talking with me today, Rick. I really appreciate it.
And we appreciate the opportunity to share all of this.
Hi, I'm Carol Mahler, author of Adventures in the Charlotte Harbor Watershed. Today, I'm at the television studios of the School District of Lee County, and with me is Tony Westland.
Hi, I'm Tony Westland, Supervisory Refuge Ranger out at the J.N. Ding Darling National Wildlife Refuge out on Sanibel Island.
Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
And we're going to be part of the book.
I'm going to read The Residential Development by Curtis Porterfield, Polk County Natural Resources Division. Florida is developing fast. Many houses, shopping centers, and roads are being built. When people build, they often get rid of natural lands and surface water to make room for buildings and roads. This means that many animals and plants lose their homes. Also, because surface water refills groundwater, we then get rid of surface water, we lose groundwater too. When surface waters are surrounded by buildings and roads, they change. The dirty substances in towns and cities can run off into surface waters when it rains, and this can make them too dirty for plants and animals to live in.
Thank you for reading that. Now, let's talk about that word residential. I'm a resident. I live in a home called a residence, so that's where we get that word residential from. So I'm actually part of residential development.
Right, and so are most of us. We all live in our homes, but we also have to remember that we need a balance, that wildlife too also needs homes. Animals need food, water, shelter, and space, and so do we. So we need homes to live in, churches to go to, stores, shopping centers, but we need a balance between that, and we also need those wonderful protected areas for wildlife.
Now, can I create some protected wildlife space in my home?
Very good point. You know, we all have an opportunity to provide that habitat for wildlife in our backyards. It can be planting native plants and providing those food sources. Now, we never want to feed wild animals, but by putting the right things in your backyards, you can attract wildlife.
Great. Thanks for talking with me today. I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Nick flies over the bridges, which are the north and south lanes of U.S. Highway Business 41. They were built high above the river, so even tall boats can pass under. Nick lands in the water beside an island. Two men sit in the shade of Australian pines. When the breeze blows the branches, the sound is like waves washing the shore. The first man asks,
Did you know this island was named for a fellow named Lofton?
the second man pours coffee from a thermos into a cup.
Who's he?
The first man says,
He drained the river back in 1910. He made it wider and deeper from here to La Belle. This island is sand he dug from near the south shore where the Fort Myers Yacht Basin is now.
Nick watches dragonflies zip over the water. The second man sips his coffee.
This is a huge pile of sand. The river must have been very shallow.
Standing very still, Nick sees a mud crab. The first man says,
It was different then. Docks were with packing houses jetted out into deep water. Two piers even had tracks for trains.
So what happened?
the second man asks.
The docks were taken out because most businesses had failed. It was the Great Depression. Sand dredged from the yacht basin filled in the waterfront to make the Centennial Park.
A fish crow lands on the branches above Nick. The first man looks at it.
Are you an American crow?
The crow tilts its head, ruffles its feathers, and says, "Uh-uh."
I knew it.
The first man slaps his leg.
That's a fish crow. I see them over at the park. They're always at the fishing pier and near the boat ramp.
The second man points at Nick.
I see herons like that one when I'm at the park.
As the men walk away, Nick grabs the crab. The fish crow dives at Nick. It wants to steal the crab, but Nick eats it. The fish crow flies away. Hi, I'm Carol Mahler, author of Adventures in the Charlotte Harbor Watershed. Today, I'm at the television studios of the School District of Lee County, and with me today